Right, it's Monday, it's a bank holiday Monday. Typical bank holiday weather here, cloudy and dull. But to cheer us up, I've got a request that two people asked me, would you do Supertramp? So here we are. Now I'd only listened up till, I think, the last famous last words. I hadn't got anything else after that, so I had to go and listen to some that I'd never heard. I was pleasantly surprised. We'll go through them. Supertramp, they're an English rock band. A lot of people think they're American, but they're not. They were formed in 1970 by Roger Hodgson, Rick Davis. I'd say they've got a distinctive sound. I think that helps because of the Wurlitzer electric piano they use. It's got a very distinctive sound, and it works so well for them. They started off as a progressive band, but they went more into pop styles. But they do combine both together in some of these tracks, and that's why they are such a good band. They've had a few lineup changes, like most bands that have been round for a little while. So I'll just need to alter something here. That's better. So they released 11 albums, and we'll have a look at them then. Okay then, coming in at number 11. It's the 9th album from 1987, Free as a Bird. This is an album it was totally a different direction. They've stepped back from that progressive rock sound and had more synthesized dance beats and rhythms. Yeah, I'd never heard this album, and I don't think I'll be listening to it much now. You've got the lineup of the band at the time was Rick Davis, John Helliwell, Dougie Thompson, Bob Seidenberg, Mark Hart and Marty Walsh, and they've got a trumpet player and brass, Lee Thornburg. Okay, the first track is called It's All Right. It starts off like a proper, you go, oh, this is Supertramp, and then it goes off into something. Experimental is not the word. It was just not very good. I don't particularly like this track. Okay, the next track, not the moment. Oh, this is just it's trying to cross jazz, progressive, and dance. It just doesn't work. They were really on one here when they made this album. It doesn't matter. This is like a proper Supertramp track. I don't mind this. It's got some nice melodies and harmonies. Not a bad track actually. Where I Stand, it's all right. The title track, Free as a Bird. Ooh, very poppy 80s. That horrible poppy sound from the 80s. Don't like that one at all. I'm begging you. Again, it's just too experimental. They're trying to bring too many genres into a song, and you can't have a jazzy, poppy dance record. No. You can never tell with friends. Not my cup of tea at all. It's the worst track on the album. Pretty poor. Thing for you, this is probably the best track on the album. It actually goes back to that classic sound of Supertramp. A little bit of that Wurlitzer coming in. It's really good. An awful thing to waste. Yep, this was a waste of tape. It was too far experimental, this album, for me. I just couldn't get into it. I listened to it 3 times and I just can't get into it. So unfortunately it gets an RTO ranking of 2 out of 10. Probably just for the tracks I like. Very, very poor album. Okay then, coming in at number 10 is the 11th studio album, Slow Motion, released in 2002. This again has got Rick Davies, Mark Hart, John Helliwell, got Cliff Hugo on bass, Bob Sonnenberg on the drums, Lee Thornburg's playing his horns again, and we've got Carl Venheur on guitars and Jess Sonnenberg on percussion, so I'd say that's a relative of Bob. Okay, first track in is the title track, Slow Motion. Now, this album is a lot better than Free as a Bird because they've gone back to that sound of Supertramp. It's got some nice keyboards in this, lovely Wurlitzer keyboard. It's a pretty decent track. Little by Little, again, very solid track. Got some nice little sounds running through this. It's got some nice sax. Really good track. Broken Hearted. It's got, again, the keyboards on this that make this track, that unique sound of Supertramp. Fantastic track. Over You. This is a great bluesy, jazzy sounding. The guitar sound great on this, and the horns fantastic. 10th Avenue Breakdown. This is sort of a poppy proggy song, lots of brass in it, very solid track. Sting of it in the Tail, mellow track, got some nice harmonica, a great sax solo in it, pretty chilled out track. Bee in Your Bonnet. This is a good track, very pleasant. It's what you call staple Supertramp sound, very, very good. Gold Rush. I'm not keen on this one. They're mixing pop and country and it doesn't work, doesn't sound right. Dead Man's Blues. What a way to end the album. Classic Supertramp song. Brilliant. But well, I mean, considering I'd not heard this album up until 3 weeks ago, it's quite good. I think it's with this one, I think as time goes on, I will like it more. And if I was to do this ranking, say in 6 months' time, I think this will be a lot higher. But I give it for now. I'll give it an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. So it's halfway, and it's a decent album, and I've got put it on my iPod now, so you know I can get to like it even better. Okay then, coming in at number 9, 8th studio album. First one without Roger Hodgson. Released in 1985. Brother, Where You Bound. Cover reminds me of a Genesis album, a live album. Yeah, that's another story. This has got Rick Davies, John Halliwell on the saxophones, Dougie Thompson on the bass, the ever-present Bob Sonnenberg, and on the title track we have got guitar solos by the one and only Mr. David Gilmour, and the rhythm guitar is by the one and only Scott Gorham. Okay, first track on the album, classic track from Supertramp, Cannonball. I love the Wurlitzer piano at the beginning of this. It's got a really good beat, one of the best tracks off the album. Still in Love. It's got a great sax opening on this, and then you get, it's a nice song, and then in the middle you get a sax and guitar solo, solid track. No in between. Again, that distinctive keyboards of Supertramp, very prominent in this track. Fantastic track. Better Days. It's not a favourite track on the album, but it's listenable, and I don't skip it, but it's not my favourite track. Then we get the title track, Brother, Where You Bound. This is superb. This is a great combination of rock and pop meeting. David Gilmour's guitar work in this is fantastic, and the solid rhythm of Scott Gorham's there, and they work really well with the band. It's the best track on the album. 16 minutes of pure pop fusion prog, absolutely superb. And Every Open Door, yeah, it's a bit of a filler for me. First album without Roger Hodgson though, very good effort, but it's the title track that really carries this album, and I give it an RTO ranking of 6. Coming in at number 8, this is the 10th album, again another album I hadn't heard, released in 1997, Some Things Never Change. It's got Rick Davies, Mark Hart, John Halliwell, Cliff Hugo, Bob Steinberg, Lee Thornburg on these brass bits again, Carl Vendor and Tom Walsh. First track is It's a Hard World. Great track. Again, it's got that distinctive Wurlitzer piano on it, little bits of sax coming through the track, the horns are solid, great track. You Win, I Lose. I love this track. It's got a little bit of clarinet, and then it goes into that Wurlitzer piano, and it goes back to them days of Breakfast in America. Terrific track. Get Your Act Together. Again, another bluesy, jazzy feel to this track. I really like this. Solid, nice bass line. Fantastic track. Live to Love You. It's just goes back to that very successful era for Supertramp. Great track. It's title track. It's not too bad. Solid. I wouldn't go overboard on it though. Listen to Me Please. Oh no, that's the worst track on the album. I don't know what they were thinking there. Sooner or Later. It's okay. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. Then we get my favourite track on the album, Help Me Down the Road. Solid blues track. This combination of Wurlitzer and guitar, drums are great, the bass comes in, one of the best songs on the album, my favourite. And The Light, oh dear, bit wishy-washy for me, too busy, not what I call a good track. Give Me a Chance, terrific bluesy number, great guitar work on this, very solid track. Says What, solid guitar in this is fantastic, it rocks in places, really good track. Where There's a Will, I do love their jazzy blues songs, this is absolutely brilliant. Rick Davies, great singer, brilliant way to end the album. Again, up until a few weeks ago I'd never heard this album, and I really like this album, and again it's now on my iTunes library. It's a great album, and I give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 7 is the debut album from 1970, self-titled Supertramp. This has got the original lineup, of course. It's got Rick Davies on it, Roger Hodgson, Richard Palmer and Robert Miller. First track is Surely. It's 31 seconds of a little pastiche song, quite nice. We'll go on to that more later. It's a Long Road. This is just pure progressive rock. Goes off on one and I love it. Fantastic track. Or Debade, I Am Not Like Other Birds of Prey. Very pastiche, Reminds me of something that come off the very first Genesis album. I do like it, and it's got that Bee Gees feel to it as well, from that and that early Bee Gees sound. Really nice track. Words unspoken. Oh, this is mellow. This is so laid back, you're falling off your chair. Great track. Maybe I'm a Beggar. A mixture of prog, blues, bit of Jethro Tull in there as well. Really is a sound unique. Brilliant track. Home Again, a nice little short piece. Guitar and piano. Great vocal. Trouble is, it should have been longer, but it's a fantastic track. Nothing to Show. A great little prog rocker this is. This has got some, sounds a bit like Uriah Heep. It's got some of that nice Hammond organ. Fantastic. Shadow Song. A little bit of Renaissance sounding track. Really good song. Try It Again. My favourite track. 12 minutes long. Proper prog. It's got some quirky flute in it. Really cool track. I love listening to this. Brilliant. And then you get Surely, a longer version. It's got a lovely Hammond organ in this. Solid track for the album. Solid debut album from Supertramp. Shame they didn't continue with their prog, but it did creep back in. I haven't owned this album for very long. I've only had it about a year, but I love it, and I give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay then, coming in at number 6, second album released in 1971. It's the one with the controversial cover. As you see, I've cleaned it up a little bit. It's indelibly I can't say it. What's up with me this morning? Oh dear, I'm having a tongue tie here. Something Indelibly Stamped. There you go. Whatever. It's a great album. Opens up with Your Papa Don't Mind. Great rocker this is. It's got that distinctive Supertramp sound that's starting to come through. The Wurlitzer piano. Really good track. Great way to open up the album. Travelled. Another pastiche song. Lots of flute in this. Haven't lost the prog soul yet. Still there. Rosie Had Everything Planned. Great track, and what enhances this is Frank Farrell on the accordion. And got Dave Winthrop on the flute. Great track. Remember, great bluesy track. Nice sax, harmonica, really good rocker, dynamite guitar solo. Forever, again another bluesy sounding track. Got a really nice hook to this one, Solid As You Like. Potter. Now this is a combination of two bands I really like, Bread and the Eagles. I've took elements from the Eagles, elements from the Bread, and come up with this track, Potter. Great track. Coming Home to See You. Again, the blues is pretty great in this. It's got that distinctive, again, that distinctive keyboard sound. Really solid track. Times Have Changed. Not too keen on this one. The vocals are a little bit weak for me. Friend in Need, not too bad. Aries. This is great. This is prog rock, and Winthrop's flute is fantastic. Great track. Great follow up to the debut. You could see they were trying to start to go towards the pop side of things. So this is a real good foundation for the more poppy Supertramp, and I give it an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay, coming in at number 5, the 7th album, released in 1982. Famous Last Words. Rick Davies, Roger Hodgson, John Halliwell, Dougie Thompson and Bob Seinberg. First time he's actually had his name as Bob Seinberg, because all the other albums have it as Bob C. Benberg. Don't know why. Anyway, first track, Crazy, solid start. Not my favourite track, but it's listenable. Put Your Old Brown Shoes On. That Wurlitzer piano in this is just fantastic. I love this track. Then we get a classic, It's Raining Again. You can't say much more about this than it's a great track, and I remember it coming out, gosh, still at school. Lordy Lord. Great track. Bonnie. Again, this is a superb track. It's more instrumental than vocal. It's got some nice piano in it. Goes back to the early days, this one. Terrific song. Know Who You Are. I love this. Roger Hodgson's voice in this is just amazing. He's such an underrated singer, I think. Fantastic track. My Kind of Lady. More that classic where it's a piano, superb guitar in this. Great track. C'est la bon. Never been keen on this track, but I do like the clarinet in it, and I like the guitar solo, but the song I'm not very keen on. Waiting for So Long. This has probably got one of the best guitar solos on any Supertramp album. I just love the bluesiness of it, and then the dramatic keyboards. Great vocals again, very proggy in places. Don't Leave Me Now, solid track with a fantastic solo on the saxophone. Another solid album from Supertramp. Go back to this one quite a lot. Superb album, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 4, the 5th album from 1977, Even in the Quietest Moments. It's got Roger Hodgson, Rick Davies, Dougie Thompson, John Halliwell, Bob Seinberg and Russell Pope. There's a lot of the concert engineering. Opens up with one of my favourite songs by Supertramp, Give a Little Bit. I love that nice guitar start, and the vocals are fantastic. Great harmonies between Roger and Rick. My favourite track on the album. Loverboy. Very proggy in places, solid track, nice guitar, and the strings arrangement in this is fantastic. Title track, Even in the Quietest Moments. Great track. The harmonies are fantastic. Solid track. Downstream. I love this track. It's just that distinctive sound. You hear the first note and you know it's Supertramp. Fantastic. Then we have Babaji, another solid track. The bass line is very prominent. Superb stuff from Supertramp. It's got that distinctive sound. From now on, mellow. Something that could be played in a speakeasy bar. That's all I'll say. Just a really nice strong song. Fool's Overture. This is a great fusion of pop and prog. It is very, very good. They've taken their prog days, made it a little bit more poppy, but it's worked. Great track. Love this album. You have to put it on and play it all the way through though. You can't jump around because it just flows so great. And I give it an RTO ranking of 8.5. Terrific album. Okay, top 3. Again, these 3 albums are the quintessential albums of this band. I play these a lot. I've had these albums a little while and I love them to bits. Okay then, coming in at number 3, 4th album from 1975. Crisis? What Crisis? I love the cover of this. Rick Davies, Roger Hodgson, John Helliwell, Dougie Thompson and the ever-present Bob Syberg. And this one is credited as Bob C. Benberg. Easy Does It. What a track. One of my favourite tracks. Fantastic, really good arrangement in this. Great start to the album. Sister Moonshine, one of my favourite tracks off the album. I love the start and then it builds up, builds up, builds up. Then you get that great guitar solo and then you get them lovely flowing Wurlitzer piano. Great track. Ain't Nobody But Me. Great track by Rick Davies. Bluesy. Sax solo is fantastic. A Soapbox Opera. Solid track. Love the string arrangements in this one. The piano is fantastic. The drums in this are awesome. Absolutely brilliant. Another Man's Woman. This is very quirky. It's got this hook that you just can't get out of your head. Solid Supertramp track that is just brilliant. Lady. Classic Supertramp song. The vocals of both Hodgson and Davison on this is superb. Poor Boy. I love this. You get that Wurlitzer piano, a bit of muted trumpet, and then it just goes into just one of them great bluesy rocky pop songs by Supertramp. I just love it. Just a Normal Day, nice track, got great saxophone in it. Fantastic track. The Meaning, love this track. It's just solid. The Two of Us, great track to end the album. As I said, this is very, very hard to choose between these 3 albums that are left. Again, this is another one of them albums you have to put on and play all the way through. It's I'd say it's near enough a concept album, this, and I give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Oh, this was hard. There's not much between these two. Very, very distinctive albums as well. So coming in at number 2 is the 6th studio album from 1979, the brilliant album that is Breakfast in America. Now, I was talking to my friend Lee last night over a pint of beer, as you do, and he says, "What are you doing today?" and all that. So, well, we got Supertramp today. He says, got a bit of information. He says, "You know the lady on the front of the cover of the album?" We went, "Yep." Apparently she's still alive. I went, "Wow, she must be getting on." She says, "Yeah, she's late 80s, early 90s now." I went, "Wow, a bit of useful information for you." Who was in the band? It's the classic lineup really. Hodgson, Davies, Halliwell, Seinberg and Thompson. First track, Gone Hollywood. This is great. The one thing about Supertramp writing, Davies and Hodgson can tell a story in less than 5 minutes, and this is one of them songs. I love it. Then we get Top 3 songs, The Logical Song. Fantastic song. Such a catchy track. Love it to death. Goodbye Stranger. Backing vocals on this are fantastic. It sounds more like a late 50s, early 60s backing vocals, the shoop shoop sort of thing. Really, really good song. Then we get my favourite song by the band, Breakfast in America, of course. It's one of the best songs from the 70s. One of the best songs in 1979. First time I heard this was on a revamped version of Jukebox Jury that Noel Edmonds did. First song I ever played on the show was this. Can't remember who was on the panel, but I think they said it was going to be a hit, and it sure was. Brilliant song. Love it to this day. It's probably one of my top 10 favourite singles of all time as well. Then we get Oh Darling. Solid track. Davis sings this and it's amazing. Take the Long Way Home. I think this is just an extension of Breakfast in America. It's in that same vein. Terrific song. The Lord Is Mine. Again, one of Hodgson's best songs. I just think he's, as I said, he's got such a way of writing and telling a story in such a short period. You know, this is 4 minutes 8, but you get your end, your middle, and your start, and you can go along with it. Great track. Just Another Nervous Wreck. I just love the rock bit in the middle. It's one of my favourite tracks. It's fantastic. Casual Conversations. Again, solid. I love the keyboards in this. Another great sax solo. Brilliant. And Child of Vision. Again, it's got that combination of progressive rock and pop. Fantastic track. One of my favourite albums. It's such solid from top to bottom. Not a bad track on it. I'll give it an RTO ranking of 9.2. So that only leaves one. So coming in at number 1 from 1974, it's the brilliant Crime of the Century. From the cover onwards, you know you're in for it. It's a great cover and it's a great album. It's got Rick Davies, of course, Roger Hodgson, John Halliwell on them saxophones, Dougie Thompson, and Bob Simberg, but he's Bob C. Benberg on this. Scott Gorham's doing some backing vocals. Vicky Steinberg is doing backing vocals. Christine Halliwell. So let's get your mates and your family in to do your backing vocals. Great combination. First song, The Great School. Love this harmonica at the beginning. The guitars come in. Fantastic. Then you get the best, one of the best tracks on the album, Bloody Well Right. What a song. And Wurlitzer good pianos, drums. Fantastic song. Hide in Your Shell. The solid tracks keep coming. I love the drums on this. Again, brilliant. Asylum. Just can't get any better than this. I mean, at this time as well, you hadn't just got Supertramp, you'd got 10cc, two of the best poppy rock bands that this country have ever produced. Great times for music in this country. Then we get another classic, of course, Dreamer. Top 5 song from them for me. There's not much you can say about that. Then we get the brilliant Rudy. I love the guitar work in this. Still going back to their prog roots. Fantastic track, love it. Then we get a great track, If Everyone Was Listening. I love this song. This is a song that could be in a stage show. It's that good. Wonderful arrangement, wonderful singing, tells a fantastic little story, top draw stuff. The last track, title track, Crime of the Century. This is my favourite track on the album. It is a brilliant track. It's got elements of pop, rock and prog. You just can't get any better. Again, this album is the second album I ever brought after Breakfast in America. I actually got this out of the library and recorded it. But it's a brilliant album. You have to play it from top to bottom. So I give it an RTO ranking of 9.4. Very underrated band, Supertramp, and I think a lot of people are surprised that they are British because they've got such an American sound. Okay, that's the first show of the day done. Next, the show that I'll be doing later will be a classic album, and we're going to be looking at Deep Purple's Burn. One of the classic albums from Deep Purple, and we'll be looking at not just the album but some of the stuff they've done on the remaster. So that's something to look forward to. So I will see you all later. Bye for now.